Now, you also talk about your experience with the USS Santa Fe, which had one of the worst reputations. And when you entered the ship, one of the first things that you noticed was the crew and how the crew seemed a little bit embarrassed, a little bit dejected. And what you did was started by asking a structured set of questions. Tell us about that process and what you learned.
Yeah, so I was supposed to be the captain of the Olympia, and things would have been fine. The Olympia was doing well. And at the very last minute, I went to the Santa Fe, which was the worst performing ship in the Navy and had the worst morale. We know that's true because it had the fewest number of sailors who wanted to stay in the Navy. And that's a measure of how much people like it. And when I walked on board the submarine, I only had 2 weeks to get ready. On the Olympia, it's a year-long school to learn every single detail. But for Santa Fe, it's like very last minute I went over there. And so I'm walking through the passageway. People are like slumped over. They're shuffling along. It's like The Walking Dead. You know, they're just zombies. And the reason I was there is because their captain had quit a year early. So they were already bummed out. And then their captain quit. And then they get this new guy. And I was really kind of tempted to kind of put my stamp on how things were, but instead I kind of held back a little bit, and I asked these questions. I said, well, because I want to tap into their fears. I said, well, like, what are you afraid that I'm going to do, like, right away? What are you afraid I'm going to change? What would you really like me to change? And what's in the way of getting your job done? What are the barriers? I went in with the assumption that even though everyone said this was the worst crew in the Navy, that they actually wanted to do a good job, and that there was something in the air that was preventing them from doing their jobs. And they told me all these stories, and I was right. They basically were there trying to do a good job, and there were just these barriers. And the barrier was this very top-down leadership where mistakes were highly criticized. So the mindset was, don't screw up. Whatever happens, don't make even the tiniest mistake. And that just paralyzes you. It's just because the best way to not make a mistake is just like sit in your cubicle and don't do anything.